Ice Fiber Override!
Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 777777 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True, not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth? Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. Senior court, Wright. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now. February 25th, 10 a.m., District Court, courtroom number 9. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forward its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant? Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Chief. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work. You don't do no damn work. You go back home and watch Wheel of Fortune, you sick fuck. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I can top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel we should grant her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. So he got to her. He put the screws on her sister first to get her to wrap up this confession because he know we on his ass. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like to tell you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! You can't. Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proved its case against through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, Edgeworth, you gotta help. I guess we gotta collab again. Well, the defendant certainly has a right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for a verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant. Now Edgeworth gets to steal my shit again. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage will certainly be premature. Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. Okay, talk your shit then, Miles! Talk your shit! Hey! And by the way, I know you said I'm not your DA anymore, but I need to get... That chat need to still come through. Let Edgy save his Edgy Mia. Edgy Mia. It's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal? Not everyone operates as you do, Worthy. No, I don't think there is. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Sky. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Sky. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Big Shuichi? Big Shuichi? Well, I guess technically Kaede said that to Shuichi. Or not Kaito, Kaede. Kaede and Kaito? Did Kaito say that too? Whatever. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Sky, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Danganronpa V3 in this piece. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. Am I going to play as Edgeworth now? My name is Emma Sky. My occupation, I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. Okay, yeah, when Edgeworth says it, then he just all on board. When I say it, I gotta prove beyond a shadow of doubt that whatever I say is relevant to the case. And 100%. He sure gave in fast, see? Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed.
I passed out. I don't remember much.
That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder?
That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. You've got to remind him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination.
"2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct?" "Yes. She was second in command under the deputy chief of police, Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever."
Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Guy used to be quite the pair.
I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man came running in and took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest.
When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right?
Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day, there were 2 people present during Dart's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony.
I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark.
When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in? I don't clearly remember what happened then. But can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dart. Just then, the lights went out.
The lights?
It was just about this time of the year. There was a terrible storm going on. The lightning struck nearby. And y'all wanted to go to a restaurant during this time? So the electricity went out?
Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right?
Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind.
I see.
I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim.
So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
So this is the picture she's talking about.
Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? This picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture.
Witness, would you mind if we added a statement to your testimony?
Yes, Your Honor. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken? But I did draw it, I swear. I'm not just imagining it. This picture that Emma drew, it reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. The scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man. That must have been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Trick and I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie. Milana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. All right, let's go for it. Mr. Edgeworth. This little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet, you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that, as the prosecutor for the case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold! This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident? Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over. Turn it. Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks there where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? What? Order, order. But Miss Guy, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you all right, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. He never looked at the back of that list. All right. Yes, that's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. Maybe it was on a clipboard. I mean, look at the we see the paper right here. There's nothing on that paper. They lied to us. It's that thing. It's back, Ellie. It still haunts us from this far. As far as I'm concerned, like, this thing is as cursed as a Chucky doll.
That thing! That thing was dancing in the evidence room.
Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was out of scrap paper.
Very well. Witness.
Can I look back at it? So he literally just had this to design a... Okay.
Will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. So it's more to the picture than what they just showed. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant.
To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder that it clearly shows that a picture drawn by a 14-year-old that depicts two shadows wrestling with each other clearly shows that Joe Dark is about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. What do you want me to do? I hate this guy. I hate his guts. God, I hate this nigga, man. I hate him because he be so sure. He be so sure of the bullshit he's saying. Satsuki, look, the stick figure is dark. Joe, I was going to make that same joke, like no cow. Oh my God, he's so bad. The judge should be the next victim. So, what did she notice about the picture? Look at it this way. There's a really... That's the jar. It's not. They're trying to make us think that is this. It's the jar. She must be showing a jar dropping on somebody's head. I don't know why the fuck she drew it that big, but that's the jar. That's the jar. That's not. Yeah. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Oh, let's press everything. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge. Under the direction of Damon Gant and Lana Scott. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should have still been fresh in her mind.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black?
So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor?
Stark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? Fuck yeah! It's my favorite sport. What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Like your sister said, anything to figure things out. If I gotta torture a little girl, I'm doing it. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. Sorry for asking so many times, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene. It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives? Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I better watch out. He may find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Oh, well, that's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet there's clearly a contradiction here. So do we have the actual scene of the murder? Let's see. Let's see. That doesn't think. Nope. Okay. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken. Even I don't have to look closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It's a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't have possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times that she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, buddy. All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Ah! Order, order, order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with the Dame and Gant. During this questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there really have been one? That the witness is adamant about the accuracy of what she saw. It can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright. In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Gut feeling. If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must be all amusing to you, Mr. Wright. My bad. That was a little joke. Y'all didn't fuck with that joke? It was already broken to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. This is a real murder weapon. Already broken. Oh! Oh. Really? Damn, I'm about to die. Really? Damn. Are we going with Edgeworth's knife? I mean, this only weapon. No, we dead. We died. Let's see how the failure looks before I load it up again. I already did the trophy. Well, that's what she wanted anyways. I did what she wanted. Alright, let's... I mean, what the fuck else can I use as a murder weapon? Okay, so we did this. We did this. We're going to say it's the Blue Badger thing? The thing that wasn't created at the time? That's not it. All right. slow this back up. Is it even possible to be this wrong this many times? That? I don't like this game. I don't like that. Because I'm the whole time I'm looking for hard evidence, I'm like, I have no words. Wait. So what the fuck? We're just I'm mad. I'm mad, bro. I think that was the second thing I went to too. No, that was the second thing, because I went to the jar and then I went to the trophy. I'm mad. I should have never had that failure, but fuck it. Like I get why I had to use the picture, but when I already have the trophy, I'm thinking, okay, he can explain that the trophy's not here, just like he did the other times. Hopefully the sequel games will improve on this. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, but why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, the man raising the knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Sounds right. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Who that? Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth! What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? Alright. So now she's going to refer to the other thing. That has to be the jar. I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Oh my God. All this time I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you recalled, Miss Guy? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mixed up, now the blue badger? This should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Oh no, there actually is a blue badger thing that's in his room, but we didn't. Is that still? Do we have a picture of that at least? No, we don't have a picture, but I remember seeing that in his room. No, it wasn't in his room. It's in one of the. Forget that. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Oh no. She still saw the jar. It's just that the jar was upwards. Yeah. This is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Stop, please, don't pursue this any further. So, maybe all that Emma did was hit one of them on top of the head. But Gant still did this. The fact that Neo got there, but supposedly Gant is uninvolved in this completely, like, nah, bro. Lana, the thing about Lana, she's worried. He must have like her fingerprints on a jar or something. So he, like I said, he's been using this whole thing to blackmail her little sister. And maybe Lana thinks that she did it too, or she was tricked into believing that she did it. So she was willing to do anything he asked. What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? I'm assuming Emma actually hit Marshall. And Lana doesn't want her to know, yeah. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. It seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Why would you do something so dangerous? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seemed convinced that Dart was the one holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dart guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Okay. I pressed that. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then, what happened next? Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. This is all quite verifiable. It seems like Miles hates the blue badger as much as you do, LE. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Miles is my spirit animal. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with his winning smile and all? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. Yes, sir, I do. I'm glad you asked. Yeah, I got an explanation. You want to know? Damn, my KO, you still grinding. You the best streamer ever. Appreciate you, Morgan. You know how I be. Oh, I already know. I know. Yeah, I know what it is. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. What? Maybe I don't know what it was. Mr. Wright. Okay, wait. That kind of threw me off. Okay, I just gotta pick something that has that same silhouette. We ain't gotta worry about that. In this room? Very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike. I mean, a jar is the only thing that makes sense, right? Right? It's a jar though, right? Man, nah, we're gonna be calm. We're not gonna second guess this shit. We're not looking around no more. I told you it was a jar, so bitch, it's a jar. Do something about it. Say I'm wrong. I dare you to say I'm wrong. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I've got to show them the correct angle to look at this from. Oh, they really put all the DS mechanics in here. So all the points... Wait, no, it could still be like this. Oh my god, I hate the rotation. God. Does that look right? Does it look right? Wait a minute. Hold up. No, that's definitely not right. Is this... Does it look right to y'all? It has to... All I know is that the top end has to be like... It has to be faced like this at least. That look right? Oh, y'all don't like that? So like that. What? Fuck.
Stay with me and let's shine those trying to get all stars now.
Ah! No fucking way. Oh, I'm just glad we wasn't going to be there for like 20 minutes. Oh my god, bro. No one could possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Please, I hate this song now. No, it can't be. I gave up after doing that for 30 minutes and looked it up. Oh, man. I was worried too. I was like, yo, if I don't get this after a certain amount of tries, I may have to just cheat. And I hate cheating. The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. Oops. Do that. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then. Please tell us. What's different now that we know the witness saw this jar? The murder weapon, the location? Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen the jar? She saw... Wait, how does the jar look? I gotta see how it looks upright, so... I already forgot how the jar looked. Let's just say she looked at it from up like that. Maybe she was holding it. Like I say, she probably held it. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes. And it's these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Are you implying the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? That would have to have been the impact the man made when he knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to the picture once more. If the man was knocked out in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes. So they saying that he accidentally, wait. She accidentally. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. So we actually saying that Emma killed him? Albeit accidentally, but damn. If the events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually prosecutor Neil Marshall, you mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Can't do a convincing scream. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So it was a witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Scott, but given the circumstances, Joe Dart murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin a crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. We certainly can't get dead people to testify. This has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touche, Miss Sky. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean a possibility that the victim left us a message. For better or worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. Yeah, they did say it took like 10 minutes for him to bleed out. But what is he getting at? He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life, in one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I got to think back to the court record. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind. So much evidence, bro. Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister is a murderer? I'm just trying to find the truth. That's it. You know what I'm saying? You talking to the man that killed his waifu. What you think I'm gonna do to your sister? Everybody can get murdered. Do not be mistaken, Miss Sky. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There's only one thing we seek. The truth. You know what I'm saying? That's all we want. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. Oh, you want evidence? This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right?
Oh, is he going to just beat the killers? Lana, what? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Edgeworth, what? Looks like everyone's forgotten. This is just a jar. A message was left here on the surface of this jar.
What do you mean?
If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. Oh, okay, so, okay. They're saying it was wiped away. Okay, so it don't matter. Yes, but notice. For some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there's a line here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is that these dots were once lines. No more DS mechanics, please. I'm not gonna play connect the dots, am I? The blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines change directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is... Ah! Help! Get this Nintendo DS shit off my Switch, baby. Oh my god. No way. So it's either Emma Sky or Gan. Sky or Gan. Okay, what the fuck?
Okay, yeah, okay, I can see it now. I see it now. Yeah, he wrote Emma. Sorry, Emma. You won't die tonight? You won't die tonight?
We still gotta roll old boy in the pack though, right? Gan. We still gotta roll with Gan in the pack. It's a defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people. She may not have meant it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Sky. I'm still getting paid though, right? Seaworthy, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gant, do you understand the implication of what you've done? What? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dart was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Worthy. Because of you, an innocent man was... So he just think he didn't kill the other niggas. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. I mean, you still orchestrated this, bro. I don't know why you leaving yourself out of this. I don't know why you leaving yourself out of this. You know we getting you next, bro, right? They just done too much as far as where these characters are supposedly going to end up after this trial for him not to be convicted. Like, even if Emma is the one who like ultimately killed him or whatever, and I'm not entirely sure about that, because here's the thing. Here's what I'm still hinging on. So Lana stumbled on this. All I can truly be sure of is that Lana believes her sister killed Marshall's brother, and also Marshall. Well, actually, no. That's all I could be sure of, because even the blood can be forged evidence if we're to think that Gant was involved in this. So even the blood can be forged, because he's the one who took that evidence and then locked it in his vault. So, and I still believe that they wouldn't go, because as dark as this game is with killing people, I don't think they will end up at the end of the day locking up Emma. So I'm still believing in her innocence, and I think Gant set all of this up. Everything. The blood on the trophy, setting them the bodies up, and everything. And like I said, with where some of these characters are going to end up after the trial, like Gumshoe lost his job. That can't be something that how we're going to end the game off of. So he has to fall for him to get his position back. Miles Edgeworth has his resignation. That's going to stand true if he doesn't get convicted. And it can't be like something humble. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know? We aren't defenders of justice. What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Not really. What? What the fuck? Y'all the one who gave him the evidence. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. He is not spitting. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. How can he just stand there like it wasn't his fault? Order! 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 The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. I got a dip. Hope you enjoyed the masterclass performance of Wright and Miles Satsuki. Peace, Gioni. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed, no one knows. No fucking way! Why is this trial so long?
Life is just death, taking its time. Who gon' take it from my hand? Was lonely before friends. I'm holding my own hand and taking these bad shots, just hoping they go in. Everything folds in.